There are so many things that I wish I had known as a young aspiring ballerina. Insights that could have saved me from all sorts of mistakes along the way, insights that would have helped me have a more fulfilling life as a dancer. And so today in this video, I want to share with you the top 5 things that I wish I knew before becoming a professional ballet dancer. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sayaka and I'm a Harvard graduate ballerina turned entrepreneur. Alright, so back in the days, I used to think that talent, hard work, and discipline were the 3 most important things to become a successful dancer. The harder you worked, the more you would win competitions, you would get noticed by important people like choreographers and directors, you would then get a scholarship to a ballet school, and one day you'd become a professional ballet dancer. And this is why I invested so many hours in the ballet studio and stretched every day for hours to improve on myself and my ballet technique. But what I didn't really realize was that there are so many factors in the ballet world that have absolutely nothing to do with you. I was so young and naive to think that my career success depended on me, how much time and effort I dedicated to the art. But after 20 years of dancing and almost 10 years of dancing as a professional ballet dancer, and looking back, I think that there are so many things that I would have done differently had I known better. So let's dive right in. Point number 1, make your weakness your strength. So one of the most crucial lessons I've learned is the importance of making your weakness a strength. It is so easy to fall into the trap of fixating on what you do not have and obsessing over it, like not having the perfect body or not having a strong technique, right? But you should try to realize early on that someone will always have better legs and extensions than you. Someone will always be skinnier than you. Someone will always move better than you. So instead of fixing yourself and trying to force yourself into this idealized image of ballet, what you should do is focus on making your weakness your strength, because that is what makes you unique and differentiates you from other people. So instead of obsessing over what you do not have and getting frustrated about that, use that energy to focus even more on what you do have. Like, let's say you don't have the perfect body. Like, for example, myself. I am really small. I'm only 155 centimeters, right? And dancers need to be taller than 165 centimeters usually. And so this complexity used to bother me a lot, and I tried to fix that and do all sorts of things like to grow taller. But height is something that you can't really have a lot of influence over, right? And so I decided to accept this and think, okay, how can I use my height to my advantage? And that's when I started to change my thinking. I was like, okay, well, tall dancers may be long and lean and beautiful, but they aren't as quick and compact as shorter dancers are. So I can use my small height and use it as an advantage to specialize in certain characters or repertoire where there is more jumping and turning and it's more like technique based. And that's why I started to focus even more on my technique, my stage presence, and I focused on moving in the most dynamic way possible and traveling the same distance in a glissade as my 2 meters tall male partner would. And it turns out that this is what choreographers want to see. This is what the audience wants to see. This mindset is really important. It's not like she is a good dancer despite the fact that she is small. It's she is a good dancer because she is small. That's the way I wanted people to know me. Because remember, people don't want to see repeated movements. They want to see your individuality, your character, and your personality. This is what makes you unique, and that is why you should make your weakness your strength. And this can obviously be applied outside of the ballet world as well. Point number 2, prioritize well-being over success. So another key lesson that I wish I had grasped earlier is the importance of prioritizing well-being over success. So in the competitive world of dance, it is so easy to get caught up in the pursuit of perfection at the expense of your mental and physical well-being. Not to mention your moral values. I see this all the time, but I am telling you, it is not worth it. Like, what is the point of becoming a professional dancer if you are unhappy and surviving on an apple a day, being so narrow-minded and mean all the time to people, and then ending up in a wheelchair at the end of your career? Like, it is not worth it for the sake of dance. Like, I understand that dance needs sacrifice, and it might seem like dance is the most important thing in your life right now. But trust me, it is not. Always remember that you are a human being first and dancer second. Like, for example, a lot of ballet mistresses who dedicated their careers to ballet told me that they regret the fact that they didn't take care of themselves and eat properly in their teenage years for the love of ballet, because now they can't have kids. So take care of yourself and your emotional and physical needs. It will not just help with your overall well-being, but it will also make you a better dancer and more authentic dancer on stage. The third point I want to emphasize is the significance of being present in the moment. As a dancer, you may find yourself constantly focusing on ballet, and I've been there myself. There was a time I forbid myself to even think for 1 second about anything except for ballet. It's an obsession, and if I did think about something else, I felt tremendously guilty, right? Like, I traveled to all these beautiful countries through dance, but I never fully let myself savor those experiences because I was so focused on the next rehearsal or performance. And you might think, why is that a problem? It's good to be focused. Well, turns out it's actually not, because this over-focus mentality does not help after a certain point. It's the law of diminishing return, because then you start to think too much and stress over it, and stress results to injuries, and injuries obviously don't help you dance better. Like, I remember I got injured once before this very important competition, Prix de Lausanne, and even 2 weeks before leaving for Switzerland. I couldn't even walk. That's how badly I was injured. And the reason I was injured was because I was putting so much stress on myself. And I remember I went to my doctor and he said to me, "Sayaka, sometimes it's important to enjoy the flowers on the sidewalk." And at that moment, I didn't know what he meant, but now I do. It meant, don't forget the richness of life beyond the studio. Do not become overly obsessed. Remember that life is more than just dance. So be present in the moment. Point 4, be careful of politics and power games. So this is a little more serious. So in traditional workplaces, there is something called office politics, where you need to navigate through complex interpersonal interactions with people in order to survive in the workplace. And oftentimes it involves power struggles. And there is not enough research about this yet, but I do believe that this is even more visible in ballet than in business, or even in other athletic fields like sports, because dance is art, and it's not like sports where there are clear winners and losers. So if you want to succeed in the dance world, you need to especially know who has power and who makes decisions in the company. Like, you really need to be savvy about politics and be sharp and aware of the power dynamics that's going on. But, and now comes the important part, just because they are important does not mean you should tolerate power harassment. I've seen so many dancers being taken advantage of because they let powerful people like directors and choreographers mistreat them. And of course, there were then the other dancers on the other side of the spectrum who were really good at the technical side of things, but didn't get noticed because they were too shy. And so you don't want to be that either. So it's really important to maintain the balance, right? So you want to play the game, but be careful, be friendly, and by all means, make a good impression, but never ever let them take advantage of you. This is really important. Point 5, develop additional skills. All right, so moving on to point number 5, it's really important to develop additional skills other than dance. Like for example, if you're going to be a professional dancer, you would benefit so much from learning about business and finance, because at the end of the day, you need to be responsible for your own finances, right? Marketing is also really advantageous because you are your own agency at the end of the day. Also, I noticed that in comparison to other creative industries, ballet dancers have the tendency to value hard work, and so they undervalue their own self-worth. And oftentimes what happens is that makes them weak negotiators when it comes to securing contracts. And so a lot of dancers tend to be taken advantage of. But the thing is, if you know a thing or two about other things like business and you have this mindset, you can protect yourself from companies or people taking advantage of you. I mean, also just in general, it's a really good thing to have another skill set, also during challenging times like between productions if you don't have a stable contract, right? Like we all saw what happened to ballet companies during the pandemic, right? Nothing is guaranteed. It can get very rocky sometimes along the way, so please always have a backup plan or skill. All right, everyone, that is pretty much it for today. These are the 5 critical points that I wish I had known before becoming a dancer. I learned these the hard way through experience, so I hope that this video helps you save a lot of mistakes in your career if you plan on becoming a dancer. And if not, and you're just here to listen to my story, thank you for watching until the end. If you found this video helpful, or if you have any insights that you would like to share, please do so in the comment section down below, and let me know if there are any topics that you would like me to cover in the next few videos. And if you're interested in hearing more about the ballet industry, you might be interested in this video over here where I talk about why I quit dancing ballet professionally. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!